And K9 and Bernie here. It is December 19th, 1 week away from Christmas. Starting to get into the thick of the holiday season.
Yes, sir.
And most importantly, get ready for Myrtle Beach. Bernie, these calls are getting a little bit longer and a little bit more intense the closer we get, man.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm liking your little studio you got there. I'm kind of liking it. I mean, last time it was, you looked like my wall, just kind of blank, and now you got it going on in there. I like it. But yeah,
I'm trying.
Holidays, man. All right. Before we get to any of the cornhole stuff, I got to know, are you a big Christmas guy?
I used to be, man. When the kid was younger and she actually enjoyed opening presents and believed in Santa Claus and stuff like that, it was fun. Yeah. But, man, now that it's, co-parenting and
business,
it's
just all business.
All she wants for Christmas this year is a trip to Panama. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty expensive, but I love that she wants to go hang out with my family down there. My mom's going to go. Right. I think my brother is going to go down there with them as well. So I'm excited that she wants to do that part. So I'm not going to say no to her. But then I'm like, man, this is one present that she doesn't even get to open for like $700. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I bought all my Christmas presents, the microphone, the lights, the headphones, stuff like that. So I don't open anything on Christmas either, but I used to love it, man. What about you?
I think everyone loves it as a kid, but as an adult, I don't know, man. I'm not, and I never had kids, so that's part of the reason. Yeah, I never got to experience the beauty of having little kids and that whole thing. Actually, there's a great old Saturday Night Live. I think Matt Damon was the guest, and they're sitting around. It's a fireside conversation. It's like, oh, I love Christmas, and and then like they go to like these past moments, and it's him cussing, putting together something, and it's the kids running around going crazy, and everything's falling apart. Like I don't know. I'm not Scrooge necessarily, but I don't know.
I'm all of them.
It seems like a gigantic hassle.
Yeah, I like the Christmas spirit. I love all that stuff, but I'm also like the biggest Scrooge, Like, why do we have to be there at 2 p.m.?
We have to do it.
Why do we have to eat at 3 o'clock because the other family's got to go at 5 o'clock?
I tell people not to get me, do this family. Like, don't buy me anything. Because if you buy me something, I'm then obligated to buy you something. You know what I mean?
I'll one up that problem because I hate whenever people are like, all right, we'll buy everybody gifts. We'll buy 2 people gifts. We'll draw names out of the hat, but $25 limit. You know what I mean? Like we're putting a cap on it. So now,
but there's always that person that breaks the cap.
Yeah. There's always, like, oh, I got you this keychain and a tumbler. Like, oh, congratulations. I got you an Xbox. Like what?
Yeah.
Well, I had extra money.
I got you this ticket to Vegas and you got a sweet. Yeah. What are you talking? Yeah. I can't stand
hates, I hate the limits. And like, here's the thing, man. And I even put a little board giveaway out there because Christmas snuck up on me, but it's the same time every year. If you can't financially plan for Christmas presents, then don't make it a hassle. You know what I mean? Just don't do it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think a lot of us, and I'm obviously in this boat. I mean, you live paycheck to paycheck in essence.
Yeah.
So planning for Christmas sounds like an unbelievably cool idea. But when you're only getting through every month, how do you plan for a fairly large expenditure at the end of the year?
Yeah. But now I have to answer it like this as well, though, because if I had a significant other with kids, you know what I mean? I would probably be all about the Christmas spirit. I'd be hiding the elves. I'd be making gingerbread houses. I'd be decorating the Christmas tree.
See, you're a better person than I am.
It's fun when it works.
I would be throwing the little elf on the shelf thing in the fire, being like, all right, enough of that. Let's go. Move on. Yeah. Next.
Yeah. The only thing I want for Christmas, though, man, is a fantasy football championship. I'm in the Final Four in 2 leagues.
Well, hold on. Fingers crossed. If Green Bay's defense scores less than 31 tonight, I'm in the semis. So let's go.
I'm
feeling pretty
Green
good
Bay's
about that.
Defense as well. There's another league. And I'm kind of hoping for this to happen because he's still got Green Bay defense in there, but he's only winning by 2.3 points. So if Green Bay goes negative, man, he loses.
Yeah, well, I figure I'm okay. However, I will let you know that I did lose a game to Ghostfinger in our league this year, this season, where his defense scored 33 points.
Well,
So it has happened to me already this season once.
Because I would love to see the defense get 30-some points. I think you're in good shape, Bubba.
I think I'm in good shape. Taking out the commish, by the way.
The show
later.
It's Bernie's last week. But we're in a league. It's a PPR league. We got usually 120 points a week, right?
Yep.
So week 1 of the playoffs, right now, my opponent scored 99. I scored 168 points this week. I'm like, dude, save that for next week.
Right.
I had an average.
Like you're excited to be like, just giving me the 105 and then hit me big next week.
Exactly, because next week it's my entire team against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson's beat me like 47 times.
I'm feeling pretty good about it because the commish had a terrible week this week. Awful. Yeah. And I didn't have a great week, but it was my first, and our PPR is like a half point. So it's like a half PPR league. So the points come down a little bit, but even still, I mean, I've had much better weeks of late. Oh, and I left Kittle on the bench.
See, I don't have another option. I left Kittle and McCaffrey in there, and they started off great for me.
I had Kittle and McCaffrey, and I left Kittle on the bench.
I lost Dameon Pierce, but I have DK Metcalf on my bench, so I was able to put him in the flex. So I'm still sitting pretty. I got AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I play the number 1 team next week, and then my other league, I'm the number 2 seed, so I have a bye. So,
by the way,
2 teams. Let's go.
Sleeper player that's been crushing it for me, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
running back, Raiders. Killing it for me all season.
All right. Well, let's not fantasy talk. Let's take a quick break. We're going to see what kind of sleepers we got on your list. We're going to start off with your doubles list. We'll be right back, though. See you in a few. Welcome back, ACL Nation. We just got done talking a little fantasy football.
Got lost there for a second.
Yeah, talking a little decorating. Bernie gave me a compliment. Sparky in the chat likes the fat heads behind me as well. So I like what we got going on, man. And we got some good vibes going to start this one off. Last time I was nervous, man.
I don't know why. This is simple stuff for you, man. You're a pro.
Pushing new buttons, saying new words. Gotta sound smart, right?
Yeah. You can't. No, it's the same.
It's the same. Yeah. Did you get a package from the commish today?
I did not.
Oh, never mind. I got a Christmas package from the commish.
I doubt I got anything from the commish.
Yes. Well, he's probably trying to butter me up. So yeah, you're beating him in fantasy. You ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, I get 0. Yeah, I figured everyone got something. I'm not surprised I got 0.
Yeah, it's just a little bottle, but like is it on the wagon or off the wagon where you don't drink anymore? But on
me?
The wagon? No, I'm on the wagon, right? I don't drink anymore.
No.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Well, it's been since October, but I don't know. Leaning into New Year's here, I'm like, okay, we might have a little sip or two. But
it's it's dangerous because whenever you do, I did that once for 4 months, and I was like, I'll just have a drink every now and then, and then like after a few weeks of a couple of here, and all of a sudden it was going out.
We got Ubers. We got people to babysit me in Myrtle Beach, so we'll see.
There you go.
All right. I guess we got to talk a little cornhole for Myrtle Beach.
Yes, sir.
So let's get into your doubles picks, Brent. We started last time with my doubles, so let's go ahead and take a look at your list. This is for the Myrtle Beach Shootout.
Mm-hmm.
We got singles and doubles. We're discussing Shootout today. I believe next week we're talking college, right?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Schedule is, yeah. So we'll kind of dive into the open.
And that'll be tough. That will be tough because it'll be a lot of kids we're not really familiar with. So we'll have to do some homework on Christmas Day.
That'd be fun, right? All right, here we go, Bernie. Here's your doubles. Go ahead and walk us through it, brother.
I mean, look at that number one team. Jordan Power, Adam Hissner. I find that team fascinating. You know how I feel about players not playing with their regular pro partner. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a great idea just from a pure chemistry standpoint. I think the more bags you have with someone, the better. However, I give these two a pass. Adam Hissner's played with Cody Henderson so much. I mean, they could probably there's nothing one of those two could do that could surprise the other. So that doesn't bother me if Adam wants to play with someone else for whatever reason. And Jordan, he's a world champion. He's been there. He's been to the top in doubles. So if he wants to step outside and have some fun, who am I to say no? But I love this team together. A lot of fire. You're going to get a lot of bags in the hole. But I think this is a great pairing. I'm interested to see how they play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ruben and I didn't see Cody's name on the list. I'm pretty sure they're not going.
Yeah.
So seeing Jordan and Adam team up, the first thing that comes to mind is this is going to be a quiet day. There's not a single chance in the world that they're going to be chirping back and forth or saying something, right?
Yeah. And that's another reason why I think it's a great pairing. Adam doesn't have to quit being Adam Hissner because he's not playing with Cody, right? I mean, here's another player that'll fit right in to that whole motif. This is, we're going to talk some smack. This is how we're going to play. I think this is a great matchup.
Yeah, both Titans squads are, players teaming up for this one. So I like
Number 2, another former world champion duo, James Baldwin, Jordan Camba. I love this. This is kind of taking me back a couple of years when Baldwin and Camba won the world championships in Rock Hill. I mean, I like this pairing. These are guys that are uber familiar with each other. They've known each other for years. They've played together God knows how many times. I think this also, Trey Ryder had a great little blurb on Twitter.
Tweet,
his little tweet talking about how it takes pressure off James Baldwin not to be playing with Cheyenne, and it puts him back with a player that he's won a world. I think that's absolute 100% true.
Okay.
I think that's a great comment. I think it kind of takes the pressure off James. And, James and Jordan playing together, obviously the confidence that they have playing together. I do not be surprised if we see them on a broadcast coming up next week, 2 weeks from now.
Wow. Going strong with that one.
I am going strong.
And it reminds me of basically the offseason for fantasy football, or the new Call of Duty Warzone came out where you pick up the phone, you start texting your old friends, hey, we're getting the band back together. We're getting the band back together. We're getting the league together. We're ready to go. So
I like it. And they're from the same area, right? Like they don't have to find each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're pretty familiar, pretty close guys. So I like that. And by the way, speaking of, people that have won before, how about the team that won this event in the finals in 4 months ago?
Yeah.
So how did they start
too early?
It's not so much I'm picking them. I would want to see how they play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is the team that won the shootout championship last season. Where are they? I think I've seen a lot of really good stuff from Eric Davis. I'm not sure where Brett Guy is, but these two together can obviously, they've just proven it. They just won the shootout championship not more than 3-4 months ago. Where are they right now? I'm curious to see in shootout number 1 where their heads are at.
Yeah, so last year, what time did the shootouts begin? What time of year did the shootouts start?
A couple months later. So this is very early. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of, there really was no Eric Davis, Brett Guy until Texas, and then they ended up winning that one against Frazier and Sutton. And then they couldn't play again in the shootout because they already qualified. So they went away for a while, and neither one of them really made enough noise for me to focus on them. And then they came when it mattered, and they won the entire championship again. So
I think they're dangerous in the fact that round limited, I think that Eric can sometimes get in his own way, kind of just being too creative sometimes and too good and making the game so dirty that sometimes it costs him, a 4 or a 5 when he doesn't necessarily have to. But in round limit, if he gets up on you, what do you do?
Right.
I mean, he's going to keep you from scoring is what he's going to do. And so I think that's why they're dangerous. And Brett Guy, if you put him in a situation, whether he's playing well or not, if you put him in a situation to hit a big shot, he's proven time and time again in his career he'll hit it. So I think they're dangerous. But I do want to see kind of where their heads are at starting off the shootout season as opposed to, just coming off the big win, like I said, not more than 3-4 months ago. So
yeah, and around limited format, they are already shortening the game, and then if they could score early on you, they're going to shorten it even more.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Noah Almanza, Duncan Klemmer. I don't know, man. I like it.
This was my off season, huh? What?
I like it. I like it. That's all I'm going to say about it. I like it.
I commented, and I was actually watching the opens. We're doing the Bagging and Bragging show with me, so I'm going back through, and I'm watching all the opens, and Duncan was in the chat. Noah Almanza was on a tear. He was throwing with Ryan Wiedenfeld, and I believe they made it all the way to the finals, and Duncan and I were kind of going back and forth, and I said, I want to see Duncan Klemmer's aggressiveness and, antics, basically, pairing up with Noah Almanza's calmness.
Yes.
They're both solid shots. But I want to see how they work as far as chemistry goes on the boards.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting about Noah Almanza? Like, one of the things that I kind of pay attention to, not necessarily the stats, even though that is uber important, but when you hear the other pros talk about someone, that matters to me. If the other pros are talking about certain players, that means there's a level of respect for their game that needs paying attention to. And Noah Almanza seems to be one of those kids, especially last season, that a lot of pros are talking about Noah. And to me, that's a good sign.
Right.
If the best players in the world think you're one of the best players in the world, that speaks volumes. So that's why I find this to be an interesting duo.
Yeah, I like it as well. This is one that I was going to put on my list.
I stole it from you.
I didn't steal. I put my list in before you, but I was kind of trying to pick your brain before we went to the paper, and I felt like you would put them on there.
Nice. See, that's what I'm talking about, Wally. That chemistry. Chemistry. All right. Sam Finley, Rosie Streaker. I think Rosie's been playing out of her mind recently, and I think Sam has something to prove this season. And I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to see them on a broadcast. I'm interested to see how they play in Myrtle Beach. Because I sooner or later, there's going to be a female pairing that breaks through. We've seen ladies do it in singles. We haven't seen them do it in doubles yet. But sooner or later, it's coming. Don't be surprised if we see it in Myrtle Beach.
I'm going sooner, and I'm going with exactly these two. Sam Finley is my pick to be the number 1 women's player this year.
Wow.
I pick her to beat Cheyenne in the finals at the World Championships. I'm going way, way down the road. But then Rosie Streaker is kind of like, hey, what about me?
Right?
What about me? I just defeated Cheyenne at conference. I threw a 10.73 PPR in co-ed with a 0.91 DPR in 55 rounds. But to get even better than that, in women's, 10.95 PPR in 105 rounds with a 6.6 DPR.
Is that okay?
I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You're either 10 or 12 in the entire step of the way. And I'm telling you right now, there really isn't another person on your list that can do that.
No.
So, in my opinion, female and female pairings are almost kind of afterthoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most of the top tier elite players don't want to throw with a female unless it's Cheyenne. And Sam and Rosie paired up together and like, hey, we're going to do this. And right now, in my opinion, they're at the top of the food chain.
That's what I'm saying. And I would not be surprised if we see them on a broadcast. Not saying they're going to be there. Would not be surprised.
Would not be surprised at all. No, sir. All right, when we come back, we'll go with my doubles list. And last time I picked the exact order they'll finish in. This time I'm going to do a little differently. I just want to watch and have some fun. So we'll see what I got in just a second. All right, welcome back, ACL Nation. Let me go ahead and get rid of that graphic. get these pretty mugs back.
Graphics out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try something on this next one, so we'll see if it doesn't work. Then, if it doesn't work, just everyone omit it. It never happens. If it does work, then we're gonna keep our pretty faces on the screen for the next one.
I like this.
Here's my doubles list. We're gonna have a little fun. We click this button. Did it work? It did not work.
What happened?
It didn't work. Oh, well.
What were you trying?
I was gonna try and put our faces on the side over here so we can see us while we're talking.
I got you.
I got a pretty fun list today. I'm looking forward to
having
your
fun.
List. Adrian Johnson, the new TikTok superstar.
Yes, sir.
Teaming up with light-skinned Corey Gilbert. So this is a pairing where I didn't see coming. But I'm interested to see how they pair up and how they work. They have some chemistry off the courts. Yep. Curious to see what they got on the courts. Light-skinned says he's going to give me a haircut, but I think I'm going to have to get one before then. And, of course, Adrian Johnson, a very underrated player. But more importantly than that, to me, he's a motivator, man.
Yeah.
He is a great person. I love seeing him team up with Corey to see what they can do. Just kind of switching things up a little bit from Myrtle Beach.
I like this pairing. You know what? Adrian Johnson, to me, if I could pull for one player, I want this guy to be a top 10 player in the world just because of how I feel about him personally. 100%. Adrian Johnson's that guy.
Yeah,
I think he does. I think he cared. No one cares more about the sport of cornhole than Adrian Johnson, period. End of sentence.
Yeah, I want to see them match their skill with their personalities real quick. Teaming up, hopefully elevating each other's game just enough to make a splash here at the Pro Shootout #1. Second team on my list, Kaylee Hunter and Tyler Poitras. Interesting offseason pairing. Got a chance to see them in person in Virginia Beach. And I got to say, Kaylee Hunter gave Cheyenne about all she had. And she got done with that match, and she was just like, I just could not finish her off. I had a couple more points to go, but I think Kaylee put like 24 in a row in and could not score the last 2 points. And then Cheyenne put like 28 in a row in. And she got done with that match, and she came over. She said, I'm going to get her. And then Tyler Poitras, I believe he finished second in his bracket. He had a nice deep run. I'm not sure if it was second or I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, same mentality. He got done playing that match, came off the court, made a little Facebook recap status, and I'm not where I want to be, lots of improvement. I'm just like, dude, for you not being at that pro level last year, this is impressive to me. So I like that the fire that they're both bringing, no pun intended, to the courts. Tyler and Kaylee are players that I want to watch, and I want to see them have that continued success.
And, they're Carolina kids. So being in Myrtle Beach, they're both familiar with that area. It's not like a massive trip for them. And I think it's a duo that a lot of people have kind of had an eye on, like, how are they going to play together in a good way? I think a lot of people are expecting big things. And I've said about Kaylee Hunter, I don't know, last year and a half, that from a skill set, pure talent perspective, if there is going to be someone that takes over Cheyenne's reign in the women's division, women's level, is Kaylee Hunter. Because from a just pure skill set, pure talent level, it's there. The only thing keeping Kaylee back is Kaylee. There's nothing in her throw. There's nothing she's doing physically that could possibly get in her way. Does that make any sense? Like, there's nothing.
It does, because whenever I'm watching her throw, I really can't pinpoint where she lost the match. You know what I mean? There's times where some pros will make a stupid shot. And with Kaylee, I just can't really pinpoint where she lost the match. She's been pretty consistent. It's not like she's taken any stupid shots. She'd have a couple of rounds where she'd give up 2, 4, or something like that. But for the most part, very consistent.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I actually, Wally, really close to being on my list as well. Maybe. I mean, I actually did have them on my list, and then I took them off.
Well, I had Cheyenne and Baldwin in my back pocket if I needed it. It's Timmy Jonas and Eric Anderson, BG squad, teamed up. Timmy hopping back over to BG. Interesting to see him team up with Eric, but Ryan Smith went elsewhere this offseason. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Eric rebounds from that and what type of Eric Anderson we're going to see. I don't think I've seen him at all this entire year. And I think I saw Timmy in Kentucky, but Kentucky, man, for me, it was, oh my gosh. That was right when I got back from Cancun, right into Kentucky, and it was a mess for me. But I want to actually focus on them this time, see how they play. They're both very smart players, and I want to see how the 10-round format does.
Yeah.
Does for them.
I think this is tough for Timmy Jonas. Eric Anderson, I think, has proven at least, a few times that he can play on an elite level. When he's got his A game, he can play on an elite level. I don't know if Timmy Jonas can. And I don't mean that to be mean. And I'm not saying that to talk bad about his game. I like Timmy. I think Timmy's awesome. I don't know if his A game stacks up with some of the other A games out there.
But you don't really need an A game in the shootouts. You just
need, true.
You need 5 A frames.
That's very true. That's a good point. But I just think it's a lot of pressure on Timmy is what I'm saying. Because, if Eric gets going, let's say Eric's dealing, right? He's not going to be real happy if you're not dealing with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it puts Timmy in a tough position. So I'm hoping that Timmy Jonas says, Bernie, you don't know what you're talking about. Check this out. That's what I'd like to see, right? I'm just not sure if I'm going to see it.
They got a big practice facility that they practice in.
At for sure.
Their house, so they're going to be in there, grinding, getting ready for it. And Eric Anderson always brings his A game. I'm just kind of hoping that they could stay focused and get things done. Have Josh Keck checking in the chat. Should be watching the Green Bay Packers, man.
Yeah. Yo.
Next on my list, Sarah Cassidy and Ashton Spees. When we talk about the females, for me, there's pretty much 5 females at the top. Sarah, for me, is around the number 5 spot. I got Rosie, Kaylee, Samantha, and Cheyenne ahead of her. But I also haven't seen too much of Sarah this year. And I can't remember the last time I saw her just dominate, other than, I guess, Virginia Beach last year. She had a great run in that one. But I'm looking forward to seeing her throw the ultra bags with Ashton Spees this year. And I think that out of the 10-round format players, I think this is an interesting pairing here because they will work well together. Ashton Spees, on the other hand, he might have a situation or two where, he gets in his own head and lets the attitude get the best of him.
Right.
But pairing up with Sarah, I wonder, she's kind of calm. I wonder if that's going to help him, relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And get back to his throw.
Once again, another team that was really close to being on my list. And I like what I agree 100% with what you're saying about Ashton. I mean, there are times where I think Ashton is his own worst enemy, and it's not necessarily his game. It's just he gets inside of his head, which I understand 1,000,000%, because whatever sport I ever played, I was that guy to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, I have sat courtside and called a game where Sarah's thrown a perfect game. And the game after that, she missed one bag. So I literally called her in 2 matches. She missed one bag. But I've said it a billion times about Sarah, and she's probably watching, and she's probably going to cuss me when I say that. She has a miss when she feels pressure, and it's a right to left cut that comes right across the front of the hole. And she takes herself out, and then all of a sudden it's a bag off to the left that's done. And it is a miss that for her, unfortunately, is kind of her trademark miss. If she's going to miss, that's the one. Right. And so if she can ever get to a point where she kind of eliminates that, or at least, we don't see it that often, there's no reason Sarah doesn't go higher up on your list in the women's ranks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. For me, top 5, I was talking to Devin and Michelle about this. Like, top 5 for me is 1 or 2 situations that happen in a national to get different points and stuff like that, or especially in the final situation or the final tournaments at the end of the year. But I think that one thing with Sarah is that she has the capability to do it. Sarah's another female who's not afraid to throw the airmail and go backside. Sam Finley's the only other one. Cheyenne doesn't really like shooting the airmail as much as she likes pushing the pile.
Right.
But I want to see Sarah airmail. I want to see her break it out and use it quite a bit. But going back to the in their own heads,
right?
Portion. Ethan Walker and Christian Brown. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with these players.
Yes.
These are 2 guys, young kids, who are very, very talented. In my opinion, some of the best role players in the entire country. Teaming up together, heading out to Myrtle Beach, switching some partners at shootout number 1, and they're going to try and make some noise and get the Midwest back on top, in my opinion, where it needs to be.
Hold on. Is St. Louis really Midwest?
This is KC. These are KC and Iowa.
KC. I mean, is that really Midwest, or is that almost like dead middle?
I mean, I'm still experiencing summer on Monday and then winter on Wednesday. So that for me is Midwest all over the place. But no, I want to see Christian Brown, first year as a pro, Ethan Walker, first year as a pro. I want to see them focus for one day. I don't care what you do the rest of the entire weekend. I want you to stay focused for one day and put together a solid 10 frames on both sides and bring your A game.
It's interesting you say that, and being like their first time as professionals in a shootout situation. A lot of times, Wally, I don't know if you've experienced this, but you'll hear from players like the first 1 or 2 times they play in a shootout. Well, I hate it. I hate round limited. I want to play to 21. Actually, if you are who they are, playing against the names you're going to play against, you have a better chance winning in a round limited format. You just do. You can shorten the game. If you come out quick and you get points in the first 2 or 3 rounds and you have a lead, you can then dictate how the game is played. And I think sometimes younger players or newer players to the pro division don't realize that the best way to win early is in the shootout series.
Yeah.
You once you kind of establish yourself, then you go into winning the 21 games and so on and so forth.
They're both muddy players that have it in them to hit these awesome shots that, a lot of the pros are doing. But I think that's the other problem with these two is that sometimes they want to make sure people see them hitting that shot. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Rather than executing the shot or making the right decision on it.
Look what I can do.
Look what I can do.
Yeah.
There's literally times where that happens. And instead, I just want them to showcase their skills in a disciplined, controlled way for 10 rounds against some of the top tier players in the world. So I don't know. Got lots of respect for those two. Looking forward to it. I kind of, treat them like they're my kids. And shout out to Ethan, by the way, for helping me out coming back from that East Moline tournament.
There you go.
Letting me stay at his house.
Wow. So now we know why.
Well, no, he's on my list 100% because of Connie. Connie Matson is always in the chat. Shout out to Connie. She's always in the chat, keeping me entertained for the most part. When I start getting a little bit tired, she's always there to keep me awake. So All right. We're going to take another commercial break. We're going to head back over to your list. We're going to get Bernie's singles when we come back. All right, welcome back, ACL Nation. Today we are going over the Pro Shootout #1. Next week we'll be going over the college tournaments. Bernie got Josh Keck in the chat correcting me. I said 10 rounds.
Well, it's 12. Yeah, I like that. That was a good record scratch, by the way. Yeah, it's 12 until we get to broadcast. But yeah.
So yeah, if they have 10 solid rounds like I was talking about, they still might lose. So
well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and talk about this because I've seen some of it in the chat. People are talking about it. I think you need your A game more in the shorter rounds. I think you need it for a briefer period of time. You do need to be on your A game at some point, but in a game to 21, that A game has to last.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to last a long time, especially when you're playing some of the top names. Now, maybe in the first couple of rounds, you don't have to have it, but when you start playing some of the best in the business, you're going to have to play your A game for an extended period of time. In a 12-round match, you give your best cornhole for 6 rounds, there's a good chance you have a lead. And if you have a lead and then dictate play, you'd be surprised how you can then get out of a rounder, like a 10, 12-round match, because the other person or team then has to start taking chances they wouldn't normally take. It's a little bit It's a little bit like if you ever go to New York City and watch the folks play like quick chess, where they do speed chess. It's a little bit like that. It happens very fast, but you have to be thinking. You can't get lazy and just say, well, this is the way I play, because you'll find yourself out of it.
I think one of the most underrated stats in the 10-round or 12-round format is bags on the ground.
Yes.
And that
100%.
usually comes from either the short bag in front of the board, which I perfected, missed airmails, or a situation where you might throw an 8 and the opponent throws a 12. Other than that, you're pretty much only giving up 2s.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every time you miss a bag, you got to think, that's only 2. I can come back from that's only 2. But then on the other side of that coin, your opponent has to be perfect that round. So if they're perfect that round, they're only walking out there with 2 more than likely. You don't need to have your A game for one entire 6 rounds. I think you need 3 solid rounds. You know, if anybody goes in and they throw 6 12-packs, that's your A game. Congratulations. Great job. But I think you need probably 50% where you put, all 4 bags in the hole, or all 4 bags where you control the round how you want to with a block, roll, whatever your strategy may be. But
I've seen more matches lost in a round limited format by people playing like they're playing to 21 with how they shoot airmails.
Yep.
It's like, this shot is for an airmail, not necessarily in a round format, because if you miss it, all of a sudden you might give up a crooked number. Whereas, yes, you play conservative, and then you don't. Let's say you give up 2, or let's say you wash. Or, it's just, I've seen more round limited matches lost by crazy airmail chances than I've seen won. Put it that way.
And I say it all the time. Pros get in the way of pros sometimes. There's
100%.
Situations where you don't need to take the high risk shot. I understand you want the big points, you want the home run, but you could win one of these matches 2-1, 2-0. You could win just by playing discipline.
100%.
All right, so let's take a look at your top 4. And I'm going to say 4 because we already know Cheyenne's not on doubles. She's got to be on singles.
All right. I'm leading off with Ryan Smith. And Ryan Smith, all right, since we were talking about players playing well in round limited formats, I think Ryan Smith, in some respects, has become kind of a round limited specialist. I don't know if we see his name necessarily as much as we used to deeper into brackets when we're playing in nationals, in singles, but he's been a force in the shootout series the last 2 years, an absolute force. So I think I just want to see, where his game is, because this is a guy, when it comes to round limited play, that seems to be kind of a specialist in it.
That's a good point. I'm not even going to pretend that I looked at his name and realized this was shootout when I saw his name there. I was like, okay, I'm looking at singles, and I'm like, all right, Ryan Smith and Upland, he went 2-2. And I was kind of underwhelmed. And then in Virginia Beach, he went 5-2. And I was like, okay, that's a huge improvement. Had some great games, but I still wanted more out of Ryan. But then whenever we look at your list here, you are reminding me that is the shootout. And he has had phenomenal success in the shootouts. So, yeah, it's a great – it's so weird that I looked at the doubles list and I thought shootout, and I look at singles and I don't even think shootout anymore. But it's on me.
Well, I mean, and I basically took the singles championship match from that ended 3-4 months ago, and I'm giving both those guys a nod because, hey, shootouts have started again. Where's your game at, right? And so we've got Josh Holland, the defending champion, just like I did in doubles. I've got the defending champions in there. Well, I've got the defending champion in singles. I want to see where Josh's head's at. And by the way, had Adam Hissner in doubles, the previous year's singles champion in the shootout series. So there are certain people that just understand how to play around limited format. And I think the way that Josh Holland fills up the hole he's going to be Josh Holland, right? And if you catch him on a hot streak, what do you do with him? Especially if a game's only 12 rounds. Well, what do you do if he gets hot? Seriously.
I think Josh Holland's only going to give his opponents 2, maybe 3 times the entire day to score a big round and take him out of his element and force him to do something that he doesn't want to do. Because Josh Holland is the type of person that I talked about earlier that could go in all 6 rounds with 12 bags in the hole. Yeah. Or 12 with all the 4 bags in the hole. So the other part of his game that's very, very scary is he has a sick airmail. So he's not going to try and do anything fancy or crazy. He's almost going to play like the number 3 guy on your list, where he's just going to play right down the hole until you make him do something differently. So if you're playing Josh Holland, you got to come in with a little bit of strategy. How can I steal points, and how can I maximize the 1 round he may give me? Otherwise, he's going to 2 you to death.
Absolutely. I've got Matt Guy on this list for the absolute opposite reason. And Matt Guy comes to mind when I talk about players in round limited formats, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it's Matt Guy, that has probably cost himself matches and cost himself chances at winning shootouts because he's so cavalier with airmails. And yes, one of the great airmails of all time, not arguing that, it's a fact. However, he doesn't hit 80% of his airmails. I think everyone thinks he does. He gets in runs, right? He'll hit 5 or 6 in a row, but he'll miss 3 or 4 in a row. Well, in a round limited format, if you get in a game and you miss 3 or 4 in a row, it's over. It's absolutely done.
And the style that he play that he brought to the table last year, whenever he was shooting those airmails, he was still leaving the wide open push. Yes. The opponent would throw a blocker. He'd go immediately to the airmail. The opponent would push that back in. So his airmails aren't really even to score points. His airmails are pretty much to wash the round or control the round. And if your opponent has a good enough push, it's going to catch him in trouble. But I do have to say, in Kentucky, I saw Matt Guy block. Not just once, but multiple times.
I think it's starting to happen more. And I think it's because – and people – the funny thing about that is when I've seen Matt throw some shots that he never used to throw, people act like, oh, he's changed, he's given up. And no, he's being an adult. Mm-hmm. He's realizing the game's changing. And if he wants to stay Matt Guy at the top of the game, he's going to have to change. He doesn't have to change a lot, but he's going to have to change a little. And I think he's finally starting to realize that. So that's not surprising to me. I mean, he's a smart enough guy that I think he realizes, yes, I can do what I do, 85% of the time. But when I get to some of the top players, everyone's so good now. I've got to change things up just a smidge, not enough. But I think the reason I have him on the list, it's a guy that has not had a lot of success in singles in the shootout series. So I'm interested to see how Matt starts off in shootout number 1.
Yeah, some people call him the GOAT, but you can't be the Ghost.
Yeah.
Greatest of some time. It's got to be all time, and we got to see it at these shootouts.
I hear you. I like that. Look at you. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a big fan of Cheyenne Bubenheim. And I don't know
really?
I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah. Did she overpass Cheyenne Renner as far as your favorite player?
Not yet. Not yet. She's still got a ways to go.
Longevity, huh?
I actually want to see. I mean, I until someone beats Cheyenne, it's Cheyenne, right? Cheyenne, the last 2 years in the shootout series, won the first shootout in women's singles. Is anyone going to change that? Seriously. So she wins the first one, so she's out of it. Then we start seeing the other names come in, right? But is someone going to beat her in the first single shootout, and is someone going to beat her in the shootout championships?
Well, I kind of doubted her and put her on blast, and Brandon came to her defense in the chat at one of these opens, and I said, I haven't seen her in a while. Is she the same Cheyenne? Is she taking time off for the wedding? What's she going to do? And then she came right back, showed me exactly who she is. Mm-hmm. Went on, like I said, 28 bags in a row run to win it in Virginia Beach. Cheyenne Bubenheim has not missed a beat.
I'm actually, I'm still waiting for a female to break through. And, she got to the championships and the world championships 2 years. She got to the championship match. Do you think that it's going to happen this season that we see a national broadcast with a female representative either in doubles or singles?
I'm
putting you on the spot, and I realize
I could probably see it this year.
You think?
Yeah,
it's possible, yes, but do you think? I don't. I don't. I think the game's gone to a different level.
I think they're just like one shot away.
That's what I've been saying about Cheyenne for the last 2 years. She's, she'll push through any bag you put there. Her airmails, I don't know. I would say average to maybe a little above average on the pro division.
And as I'm thinking, like it's not even any like a roll shot or anything fancy. Like it's almost just like a bully. You know what I mean? Instead of pushing through, like step out and just control the round a little bit differently.
Yes.
Instead of just dominating with your skill set. But I don't know. Yeah, you put me on the spot.
But I think her skill set is there. I think she's missing. It's one little thing, and I'm not sure what it is, because if she finds it, I think she vaults into a top 5 level to where she's a danger to win any national at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but she's not that far off as we sit here now. But as far as the women's game goes, she's still the top dog until someone proves otherwise. So that's why she's on my list.
Yeah, Damon coming to his Colonel Co-Captain's defense there says, he beats a Ghost 10 with the airmails, so he can't be too critical of his airmail.
I'm not too critical. I'm talking. Hey, Damon, I'm talking shootout series.
I want to see,
and he's lost more shootout matches because of that airmail.
I want to see first bag blocker, then 3 airmails. That's what I want to see. Control the round. All right, number 5.
And then Fisher Hamilton. So much talk, so much chatter, so much hype. And we had this with the last 2 rookie classes. Huh?
Is he old enough for a shootout?
If he's in the pro division. Is he not in the shootout?
I don't know. Either way,
if he's not, then my apologies, Fisher. But there's so much talk, and I want to see how he handles it now that we get to the, obviously the Open Series. And I've said this before, and people get so mad, but there's just a difference. There's a difference between the Opens and the Nationals and the shootouts. There's just a difference. And so I want to see how that translates.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because he throws with the shorts tucked in, pulled up. And I said, what are you going to do when you get on the broadcast and you do these shootouts and you start winning? And he's like, well, I'll wear sweatpants. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's a big change. You know what I mean? Because he actually does brush his bag up against his leg when he throws it. But same situation with all the other young players.
That's so tough.
Don't go his way. I want to see him mentally rebound. One thing I do like about him, though, is if he does have that miss where his bag stays on the board, he does this little thing where he's kind of like, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. And he'll talk to himself throughout the round. So he's got a little bit of an edge over those other guys as far as composure goes, but skill set.
That's a composure level that a lot of adults do not have.
Right.
And so that's pretty impressive.
All right. One last commercial break, guys. When we come back, Wally singles. And I don't even know who I got on the list. I'm not going to lie. But we'll find out all together. See you guys in a few. All right, ACL Nation, welcome back. Bernie, off the air, we kind of talked a little bit about the insomnia that I'm suffering from. So 3:00 in the morning last night, we get done watching Avatar, and I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, okay, what do I got to do tomorrow? Oh, ACL Live with Bernie tomorrow. Okay. Like, oh, where's the list? So I went in the little spreadsheet, and I looked at the list, and I'm like going through. I'm like, okay, I'll think about this guy. I'll think about that guy. And I could not get to sleep because I'm sitting here thinking about what I have to do the next day. So I put my list together like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Stay awake till 7 o'clock this morning. So we're all going to be surprised at the same time of who I have on my list.
By the way, Wally, can I say something really quick?
Yes, sir.
A shout to Sydney Keppel. She's been doing our merch for the last couple of seasons. Everyone's familiar with Sydney. She had her kind of going away party tonight. I wasn't able to make it up to Rock Hill, but I wanted to give her a shout. She's moving on to greener pastures. So big shout. Yeah. Big shout to Sydney. Hope to see her around the block.
Shocked. Did not know that. You're dropping bombs on me, Bernie.
Yeah, man.
All right, here we go. Let's all get surprised at the same time.
Wow. Okay. There we go. Let's go.
I was going to have fun at Myrtle Beach. Can't have fun without Mike Harvey.
No, sir. I'm all in.
Mike Harvey is one of these guys where I'll be suffering from the insomnia, walking like a zombie throughout the arena, tired as all can be. And then I see Mike, and I just instantly smile. You know what I mean?
100%.
Mike is oozing with positivity, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this year. Last year, it was kind of a rebound year, in my opinion, for him.
Absolutely.
This year is a back-to-business year for Mike Harvey.
I think rebound is the best way to put it. Yeah, I don't think he would. I don't think he would say he had his best year. Right.
I don't.
So maybe this year is the rebound year. Right. Maybe. Maybe last year was the kind of collecting your thoughts year about where you want to be.
The regroup. Yeah. This year's rebound. I like that. But yeah, looking forward to Mike Harvey's season this year. And number 2 on my list, Berkeley pair. I don't know if you've had a chance to follow Berkeley in the brackets. Mm-hmm. Berkeley is ascending.
Absolutely.
Ascending. And he is doing it many different throwing styles. The only problem with Berkeley is the one thing I love about Berkeley. His mouth. Just bags first, mouth second. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
He's a chirper.
Wish, once again, he's one of the players I wish more players were like.
I love miking him up, or at least being able to hear him. I don't know if I want to mic him up just yet. But I love being able to hear him and then kind of relay to the chat what he's saying, because Berkeley is one of these players I love to watch on the court, and his skill is now starting to be backed up.
I'm with you. I'm actually with you on this. If you're going to be a talker, you can't make mistakes. Because then you get in your own head, right? Like if you've been talking a little bit and then you start to make mistakes, well, now you're essentially talking smack to yourself because you remember what you said, right? So like you have to be, if you're going to be that guy, you better be close to perfect.
Yeah. Number 3 on my list, you see the picture there, Philip Lopez Jr. I was going through my list. I made the top 200 players list. You know, I was going to go and do a mock draft. I think I'm actually going to kind of put a little twist on it. I think we're going to do a mock draft with like the K9 followers and subscribers and stuff. I'll assign one lucky viewer its own team, and we'll kind of do a live draft on broadcast. And I think it'll be kind of fun. But Philip Lopez Jr., everywhere I put him, I felt like it was too low. I was like, I got to bump him up. I got to make him higher. And then I was starting thinking, I was like, do I put Philip Lopez in my top 10? And I don't see a reason why I shouldn't. He's got all the shots. He's got a nasty push throwing the snipers now. His push game is on point. His airmail has always been there. And one underrated aspect of Philip Lopez Jr.'s game is his IQ. His cornhole IQ is top notch. And he hits the shots when he needs to do it. And most importantly, he'll shoot the shots when he should go after them. He doesn't do anything risky or stupid. He's a very disciplined player. And I think that just like Ryan Smith, the shootout format benefits him.
I have an interesting thought about Philip Lopez Jr. in that he's so underrated. Like for me, like I know myself and the players that I'm thinking about. If I go through my top 10, he wasn't on my top 10. We had our power rankings, what have you, that we sent out, and he wasn't in my top 10. And I started looking through the next 10 players, right, that I would have been on my list. And he's right there. And then I start thinking to myself, why is he not in my top 10? And I can't give you an answer necessarily. Isn't that weird? Yeah, and I think he's like that with a few other people. It's like, they want to give you a reason, but they can't really go through and, it's not something they can say on paper. It's not something like I don't know what it is, but he's always an underrated player, especially among the elite players.
Yep. And trying to ascend back to the elite level, Steven Bernasette, strong conference at the Great Lakes Conference. Good finish for him, taking down the singles championship. Now that he is moved in with Ryan Windsor and they're throwing on a regular basis, I'm looking forward to seeing which Bernasette we get. Steven Bernasette always has one of the highest and most accurate airmails. His push shot, I think, is going to be the determining factor. But what type of style of play are we going to see with him in the shootouts? Are we going to see this, dominant game to 21 in a 12-round format, or is he going to kind of adjust and rely on that airmail? I'm really curious to see what version of Steve Bernasette we got, because when I saw him at the Badgerland Bag Brawl, there were some holes there. But then taking down the Great Lakes Conference with all those strong players, I'm like, okay, maybe Windsor has helped him out a little bit.
there aren't a lot of enigmas as far as players to me, but Bernasette's kind of an enigma to me. He burst on the scene, and there was so much flair and so much talk, and the game was obvious, but it also kind of disappeared in a way. I mean, not really, but I'm talking, when you get to an elite level, it's very hard to stay there, and everyone knows it. And I think Steven realized that once he got there. But I was surprised at the fall. I really was. So I'm interested to see.
It does go to show you the balance, though. You have to have the balance on the court and then off the court as well. So, like I said, maybe moving in with Windsor, he'll be able to find both and, perfect his game a little bit throughout this season. Teaming up with Trevor Brooks, too. I'm interested to see them in doubles.
It is interesting
how they do this wear. But Rosie Streaker, she shot so well. I got to put her on my list as well for singles. I hope that this is Rosie Streaker for the entire season.
Yes.
This is fun to watch. Whenever Rosie finally got her shootout championship, there wasn't a single person in that building that did not crack a smile when she did her little cheerleader pose.
Oh my gosh, right?
And she did that little like we all love to see it.
Sure.
He's got one of these smiles too, just like Mike Harvey at the top of my list, that I love seeing players enjoy the actual game again. Because sometimes pros get in the way of pros. The attitude, the good is good, the bad is bad, and we see it all the way. But with Rosie, I don't know if I've ever seen her bad.
Right. You know what I mean? Once again, not a lot of people that I openly pull for, because of what we have to do as a job, but I openly pull for Rosie.
Yeah.
I never want her to miss a bag ever.
Yeah. I could probably back that up too. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy watching Rosie do very, very well. So Rosie and Sam are my two females that I'm really looking forward to seeing this year. And that's not a knock on Cheyenne at all. I just feel like I've been an underdog my entire life, and I have to root for underdogs who throw 10.9 threes. All
right. Well, how about this? Is there ever going to be a female outside the state of Florida that really comes in?
Where's T-Nuts from?
But I mean, you got Kaylee. Yeah, there it is. Nice. There
I should have done that one. There you go. But outside of Florida,
I mean, Kaylee's coming.
They get to throw.
Cam's coming. Cameron Belvin. You've got my brain's not working. She actually worked with me in Jesus. She's from Pennsylvania. My brain's not working.
Texas girls, filling him in Odom. I mean,
I love Odom. My brain is not working.
Who are you going for? Sorry.
Pennsylvania.
Connie?
God, thank you. Connie Altice. My brain. Don't get older. Kids, just say no. I mean, it is crazy.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. But I mean, outside, but the state of Florida just dominating in the women's game. Just dominant.
Not just the women's. I mean, Kingsbury, Rawls. I mean, there's a lot of players. I honestly think Kyle Malone has elevated his game as well, too. So Florida is stacked this year.
Always.
All right, Bernie, we did it, man. We survived episode 2 together, man. Let's go one more week, and we'll get some college players in there. Off the top of your head, you got any college players that you even know?
I mean, Dalton Herrera actually checked in our chat. Dalton's a really cool kid. I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't know if Nick Moore is coming back from the University of Tennessee. I'd have to look. There's quite a few that I know, but I'm not sure who all signed up yet. I haven't seen the list, so I'd have to see the list before I make any crazy commentary.
Definitely not putting Landon Crabtree on my list, so don't even look for yourself next week, Landon.
Yeah,
not going to be on there. All right, Bernie. Enjoy Christmas, man.
You too, brother.
Try and get some sleep.
You as well, man.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
I'll talk to you later.
See you guys next week when we do the college breakdown.